all the generators for the Democrats.
You're on one speaker.
No worries.
That's right.
There you go.
Come on,
Jeff!
So anyway, his father was taken away to run all the generators for the mobile hospitals for the Viet Cong. And so because of that, the French deemed it as working with the enemy, so they destroyed his home. His oldest brother was conscripted to run all the ammunition up to the Laotian border, but he was killed in a mudslide. So at the age of 13, Quan had to drop out of school to take care of his family. His mom and his three younger brothers and sisters. Their house was basically a tin roof with 4 stakes on it for a number of years. So he worked with the French Foreign Legion, and first as a cleaning boy, and he gained more responsibilities so they could buy a house. And in the meanwhile, he was able to teach himself enough that he earned a scholarship to the University of Philippines. And then he went on to Cornell University for his master's PhD. Came back to his country where he worked his way up the Ministry of Agriculture. He was then sent to the UN as the Vietnamese envoy for agriculture in Vietnam. Came back and later became the Deputy Minister of Agriculture. In '75, he had to leave everything behind. His father called him a coward for abandoning his country. But he knew that his young family couldn't survive there because he'd probably be killed. So they came to the United States, and his friends at the time were now congressmen, and one was the Secretary of Agriculture, Bob Bergman. And they said, well, Quan, if you want, you can just take your family to another country and help develop it. And so he worked for USAID for many years, and again, his family didn't know any in English, so he had to send his family home. So he stayed over in places like Cameroon, Zaire, Senegal, and Madagascar by himself, where you have to run the water for about a whole minute before it goes from dark brown to somewhat clear. And then after that, you still had to filter it. You had to boil it, and then you had to put iodine. So it tasted like poo, but that's what you had to drink. He did that so all his kids can go to college, and he could take care of his family. Well, we lost Quan earlier this year during Super Bowl Sunday, and it was really sad. But he leaves behind a legacy of 5 children who are all college educated up to master's level. He's got 14 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. And his son stands before you today saying that the American dream is real. And you can achieve it. You work your butt off and make it happen. So I stand before you right now as a son of Quan, saying that I fought for this country. I took everything that this country could give us in terms of opportunity. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. I went to the United States Naval Academy. I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Ocean Engineering. I went to Naval Postgraduate School. I got a Master's in Physics. And then I went to Harvard and MIT. But I paid everything back with my service to this nation. And I fought in Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia. I went to Pakistan when during the earthquake before the relief there. I worked in the Balkans. I dove the ocean depths. I brought back John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife and sister-in-law. I dove for other airlines that crashed and recovered some old friends that I had dinner with the day before, and they crashed in the ocean and I had to recover. But something happened on my last combat deployment to Afghanistan. I don't know what happened to this country. This old enemy of my father's called communism snuck in. And it came in the middle of the night like a thief. And it starts infiltrating our government. And it's called communism. It's called Marxism. It's called socialism. And it's the enemy of everything we stand for. And so a year ago, this October 1st, I retired, and then 3 months later, I declared my candidacy for U.S. Congress. And that's why I'm fighting. Because this enemy called Marxism and socialism or communism, it goes against everything we stand for. I don't know how we got here. We're $31 trillion in debt. Yesterday, OPEC said that they were going to stop pumping 2 million barrels of gas, or of oil, a day, which economists are telling us that it's going to rise, cause the inflation to rise even more. Right now, we're at the highest inflation rate in 40 years, 8.3%. The largest interest rates in 16 years. And we ask ourselves how this happened. It's because these members of Congress and the president have forgotten their oath of office. The same oath that we all took, right? To support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. To bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That we will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office for which about to enter, so help us God. That's what they forgot. Because that oath is not to any president, not any king, and certainly not to any party. It's to the Constitution of the United States, which we all swore to defend. It's to we the people. They forgot that they work for we the people. And that's what I'm going to Congress to do. I'm going to remind them what their oath is to. You know, and it's not to divide us. I mean, I want you to ask yourselves tonight, do we feel safer than we were 2 years ago? Are we thriving? Are we more economically secure? Are we excited about our kids' futures? Are we more united? Joe Biden stood in front of Independence Hall and called all of those that didn't vote for him a threat to democracy. That's the first time in U.S. history a president has called his constituents threats to democracy. And instead of standing up and saying, Mr. President, with all due respect, you're wrong, Jennifer Wexton didn't do that. Instead of saying, sir, my constituents are not threats to democracy. They may not agree with our politics, but they're hardworking Americans. They're farmers. They're veterans. They're military officers and enlisted. They're moms, yes ma'am. They're veterans, and they are firefighters, police officers, healthcare workers. They are not threats to democracy. But instead, she doubles down. She calls me an extremist. I mean, that's the same name we call terrorists, right? Yeah. I came to this country as a refugee. I fought and bled for this country like most of you did. I'm a father of 5. I'm a husband of 23 years. And she's called me a terrorist. What do you think she calls you behind your backs when you don't agree with her politics? Ladies and gentlemen, we deserve better. We deserve somebody that will listen to us, regardless of what we voted for or we don't agree. We deserve a member of Congress that will serve us the way we serve those that were under us. In forced reconnaissance, there's a saying, never above you, never below you, always beside you. That's where you'll find me, always beside you. My name's Hung Kao, and I'm your next congressman. Thank you so much.